Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Power Apps for Charities, exploring Pragmatiq's Fundraising Accelerator. This session is going to be hosted by Pragmatiq, and we at Qlic are very excited to share it with our charity network. So starting with the introduction, which we've just gone through, we're going to then go into exploring Power Apps for the non-profit sector. Then Pragmatiq are going to show you an example of the Power App and the Pragmatiq Fundraising Accelerator. Then there's going to be a live demo, and then we're going to have an expert Q&A at the end.
Hi everyone, I'm Nick, and I'll be taking you through Power Apps and the example of our Fundraising Accelerator today. So a little bit about Pragmatiq before we start. We're a Microsoft Business Applications partner and expert in the charity space. We use Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform to build custom applications to deliver business outcomes through technology. Over the years, we've established a really strong customer base in the sector. This experience helps us understand the unique requirements for our not-for-profit customers and the challenges they face on a day-to-day basis. We've successfully delivered over 80 Dynamics 365 and Power Platform projects across multiple different industries, but with over 20 of these implementations being in the not-for-profit space. We've got over 125 years of combined experience working with Dynamics and the Power Platform across our employees, and this has led to us being finalists in over 18 award categories, having won 8 in total in recent years, including things like winners in service excellence and technology business awards, amongst many others. Pragmatiq also has over 40 approved Microsoft certifications across our employee base, demonstrating our capabilities of our consultants and the high quality solutions that we deliver. So on this slide, you can see some of the charity organisations that we've worked with over the years, all unique in their size, all unique in their mission. We work with national charities such as Mental Health Matters, Terence Higgins Trust and James's Place, down to localised charities like Alabare and Brighton Therapy Centre. We've got a really strong track record working specifically with service-based charities that provide support services across their client base, primarily using Power Apps in this scenario as a case management tool to track and manage that client journey from referral all the way through to discharge. But we have many charities using Power Apps in other scenarios, such as fundraising, which we'll show in a bit more detail today, and a wide range of other purposes as well. Our advice and our guidance comes from our experience working with charities like yourself, using Power Apps to solve their challenges and improve their organisation. What this should show is that Microsoft Platform can support a wide variety of different charity-based scenarios, and now with the infusion of AI, the Microsoft offering is really as strong as ever. So on to today's topic, what is Power Apps? Some of you may have heard the term before, but maybe aren't 100% what it is or how it can help you. For others, this might be your first time hearing the term Power Apps. So we'll start with a definition of sorts from the slide. So Power Apps is Microsoft's platform for creating custom business applications that help you automate tasks, bring data together, and improve how things get done. But what does this mean? So let's start with the business application side. And to help explain this, I hope you'll indulge me with a quick analogy, something non-technical that hopefully we're all familiar with, which is a house. There's lots of things we do as part of our everyday lives to run ourselves, our families, as people. If we call these life activities things like sleeping, cooking, eating, dressing, washing clothes, etc. These are all things that we need to do. And the house has everything we need in one place to help us with these life activities. So it has all the objects we need. It has the furniture, bed for sleeping, clothes for dressing, pots and pans for cooking, sink to access water. As well as these objects, we also have appliances to do some of these activities for us. So a washing machine to wash up clothes, dishwasher to wash up dishes. These appliances let us automate what were previously manual tasks and would have taken a long time, but now can be done really quick and easily, letting us focus on other things. Objects and appliances are not haphazardly everywhere in the house, unless you live in my house. They're organized normally into separate spaces to make things easy to find. So all the kitchen equipment is in the kitchen, all the clothes in the bedroom, etc. And this makes it a lot easier to do all the things we need to do in our life, those life activities. We probably take the house a little bit for granted, something that makes life so much easier. But once upon a time, we'd have had to do all of these things in different places. We'd have gone to the well to get water, the river to clean clothes, have to search each night for somewhere to sleep. Bringing this all together, these appliances to automate the task, the objects all in one place, makes it much more effective to do what we need to do and lets us focus on the things we want to do. So hopefully this isn't too cheesy, but it's the exact same thing with business applications to the organization. The business application is the house of the organization, as it were. Instead of supporting with life activities, business applications support with business processes. So for a charity, it's managing referrals, delivering their services, business development, etc. Like the house has household objects for life activities, the business application has the data that it needs for the business process. They include logic and automation to automate tasks, just like the appliances did in the home. For example, sending out emails automatically from the application, automatic data entry, referral forms that automatically pull through those referrals into the system, removing that manual data entry. And just like the house, the business application provides one place to bring this all together. So instead of having your data in lots of different Excel spreadsheets, you can bring this into a single business application, guiding the users through the relevant steps to support your processes, and allows the introduction of automation to massively reduce manual work. As with the home, this then has a massive impact on improving business processes and thus the organization. So to summarize, your business app is your data, your processes, and your automation in one place. So where does Power Apps enter the picture? Quite simply, Power Apps is a platform built by Microsoft where we can build these business applications. It's not a set app out of the box ready to go, which maybe might work for 70%, 80% of what you do, but you still need a bit of Excel around the side or change your processes to fit the application. Power Apps is used to build fully custom application designed around your specific organization. So your specific processes, your desired automation, your data you wish to capture. And being fully customizable means it can be used across a wide variety of use cases. These could be small use cases for a single department supporting a handful of processes they do, to large complex applications used across the entire organization, supporting many departments and the complete end-to-end process, all interlinked, streamlined, and automated. There is not one thing that a Power App is. It's a platform with the building blocks to build out your custom applications for whatever you need. Then, maybe rather confusingly, we call these business applications built in Power Apps a Power App. We could build one, we could build multiple, but they all sit in one database, one place, just like multiple rooms in a house. It's this wide scope that means Power Apps as a platform has such a massive impact and really benefits nonprofits across the entire organization. Anyone can put stats on a screen to tell you the impact, like 206% return of investment in 3 years when adopting Power Apps, or 35% increase in productivity. These are great, but it doesn't explain why and how Power Apps achieves this. So why it cuts admin time. How does it do this? By using automation. Removes those manual tasks, reducing the admin time and increasing your productivity. And our experience working with charities is this is a really big challenge. Being able to do more with the same is a really big benefit and something that Power Apps really helps with. Why? It improves execution. So having one system, one source of the truth with the processes baked into it gives you the right tools for the job, so you can focus on just executing the process, not the bits that go around it. And when that happens, the quality of the delivery increases. You do better without the distractions. Why? It improves your data. It's easier to record data in the system, which means you're more likely to get that data recorded, but also it can enforce good data quality. Better data means better reporting, and better reporting means visibility of what's going on. And this supports informed and data-driven decisions. So that's what Power Apps is, but when should you consider Power Apps? As a short answer, probably more than you do. Those scenarios you might reach for an Excel spreadsheet or a SharePoint list to manage a new process. There's a strong likelihood that building a custom app in Power Apps is a much cleaner and better route forward. And hopefully we'll show you this today and bring to life where Power Apps could help your organization. We've called out a few examples on this slide of different business processes that we have supported by one or more Power Apps. It's not an exhaustive list, but to call out a few examples, case management and service activity management. As mentioned earlier, a key aspect of supporting service-based charities to deliver their services is to be able to track and manage that client journey from referral through to discharge, and especially to be able to track the details of the engagement, the activities that have happened with the individual clients. And this allows for reporting of both the progress of the client, but also reporting back to commissioners and on contracts and things like that. Grant application processing, so not uncommon for charities to offer grants. This requires lots of steps in this end-to-end process, from the submission of the grant by the client, then the management, the data capture to assess this application, as well as ultimately processing the award of that grant as well. And then the final example, incident management. So the logging and incident and reporting of incidents is really important, but there's a lot more to it than just that off the back. You've got the process to resolve the incident and any escalation where required, making sure that that's handled correctly and you have that audit trail of how it was handled. And then the final good use case is fundraising, and we'll go on to show you this in a lot more detail later in the webinar. So if we return briefly to my analogy, as good as a house is for life activities, it doesn't do everything. We still need to go to the shops to buy groceries, and it's the same with Power Apps. So some business processes are best delivered by another technology in the Microsoft ecosystem. What is key, though, is that these systems talk to each other and work closely together to provide a simple experience for your users. And Power Apps is exactly that. It has really strong links to the wider ecosystem, easily linking together with these other applications. And this means you can leverage the best technology for the solution that you need whilst keeping the experience simple. So for example, a good example is Dynamics 365. So the Dynamics 365 apps you might have heard of are basically Microsoft pre-built Power Apps for predefined business processes. So for example, there's an app for sales, which can be leveraged in the non-profit space for business development. There's a customer insights app, which is effectively for marketing and communication, including email automation and event management modules. These sit as separate apps, but as I mentioned earlier, they sit in the same database alongside your Power Apps, so it's still all in one place. You've then got Power Pages for portals. It's often to have use cases for exposing some of your business data to external individuals via a login-based portal online. And Power Pages is a tool for that. It sits snugly alongside Power Apps, directly accessing the Power Apps data, making it easy to share the data you would like with external users without the need for complex development or integrations. A good example of this would be a volunteer self-service portal. Rather than having emails exchanged between staff and volunteers and then manually putting that data in the system, you just expose the relevant information to them on a volunteer portal so they can self-serve. Another strong tool alongside Power Apps in the ecosystem is Power BI for reporting. So Power BI is a Microsoft reporting application that lets you create real-time interactive reports. There's a really quick and easy connection to bring the data from Power Apps into Power BI, making it straightforward to build out reports and getting that insight as soon as possible, allowing for data-driven decision making. And then finally, we have Copilot Studios for AI. So AI is starting to offer a new route forward to support automation and business logic. From the chat experience to answer questions to support users in executing a process, to executing tasks and that process on their behalf or with them. Copilot Studio allows the creation of these AI agents, and then Power Apps links into this really well, either as a data source to provide that information accurately to Copilot Studios, again, really easily, like with Power BI, or bringing these agents into Power Apps, so as an alternative automation tool, so they're using an AI agent in the application itself. Outside of this, Power Apps also has very strong connections with the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. So to call out just a few examples, SharePoint for file storage, when we're uploading files to Power Apps, we can make it so it stores them directly into your existing SharePoint structure, not in a different place. Outlook, something we probably all use for emails and appointments. Again, when creating emails and appointments from Power Apps, this automatically syncs to your Outlook. So it sends them from your Outlook. An appointment in Power Apps is an appointment in your Outlook, and vice versa, as well as strongly linking into Teams, PowerPoint, Word, etc., and the rest of the ecosystem. The takeaway is you don't need to change your whole day-to-day processes. You don't need to change your whole setup to bring Power Apps into the picture. It links in really well with them. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of a flavor of what a Power App can do and where it can be used. But we wanted to go a little bit further and bring it to life today by showing you a Power App, kind of really show you the things you can do with it. The example we've chosen to demonstrate is a situation around fundraising, something common to all charities and hopefully something you're all reasonably familiar with. We've actually built a Power App Accelerator, which is a complete fundraising application. And it's accelerator, meaning it's something we use to install to speed up the delivery of a fundraising Power App project, bringing you that much closer without needing to build it all every single time. You just do the last few customizations to make it bespoke for your organization. For today's purpose, though, it's a good example of what we can do with Power Apps. It's at the more complex end of the spectrum, more comprehensive end, covering lots of different end-to-end processes. So should really show you what you can achieve with a well-designed app. So the purpose of the fundraising app accelerator is to support the core fundraising processes. These cover three main areas, so donor relationships, promoting fundraising, and fundraising activities and financials. So first up, donor relationships. So the application allows individuals and organizations to be recorded as donors, allowing all the key information required to be recorded centrally. Like a traditional CRM, activities like phone calls, appointments, emails can also then be recorded against these individuals or organizations. And we leverage the Outlook integration I mentioned earlier to get a real synchronization between Outlook and Power Apps. Next up is promoting fundraising. So this encompasses the various activities completed to encourage and source fundraising. So this is broken into two main areas: broader audience promotion and targeted outreach done via campaigns, which are then broken down into individual appeals. And this is supplemented with marketing automation to do audience and trigger-based email and SMS communication, so bulk outreach tools there. But also the other main aspect of promoting fundraising is that more one-to-one promotion activities where we're managing potential fundraising engagement with specific individuals and track or organizations and track any asks that were made there. The final module is fundraising activities and financials. This module allows the various donations, commitments, fundraising activities to be centrally managed, with supporting automation to streamline the processes surrounding these. So transactions allow for the tracking of all received financial contributions, from donations to event payments. Donor commitments provide insights on expected future fundraising activities, from one-off and regular donations to pledges and legacies. Fundraising events are also a key pillar of fundraising activities, and the accelerator allows for the management of both internal events, be it a ball or a dinner, or tracking fundraising from community events like marathons or self-organized cake sales. With fundraising data captured, this allows for the automation to be introduced that then will really streamline what are otherwise quite time-consuming processes, such as the bulk donation import tool to easily import donations from all the usual fundraising sites and sources, to gift aid claim automation to automatically identify gift aid eligible donations and generate that claim for you in the correct format, ready to be uploaded to HMRC. So that provides a little bit of a context of what this application as a whole does. Now let's see how this was delivered in Power Apps, and I'll jump into the demo. So this is the fundraising Power App. It's a cloud-based application which is accessed online. So you can see I'm on Chrome here, but you can also access it via a desktop application or via mobile or tablet with apps on the Play Store or App Store, etc. It's cross-platform, which means when we make a change in one place, it changes it everywhere. So you're only managing one app, but you're still being able to access it in 3 places. For those who may have seen a Power App or Dynamics 365 before, you might notice, initially at least, they look quite similar. And this is because the fact that it's built on that Power Apps platform I mentioned. The general layout, the look and feel is standardized, and there is some standard functionality that comes with the application, like the organization and the contacts. But what this really is it's the building blocks that mean that everything else you see has been built out custom. So the appeals, the areas in the appeal for campaigns, appeals funds, events, donations, etc., has all been built out custom. So we've got those core building blocks, which is why it looks similar, but we can build fully bespoke outcomes without the need to build it entirely from the ground up. We're that much quicker to build it because we've got those building blocks to work with. So let's break down what we're looking at. On the left-hand side, we have the sitemap. So this lets us navigate to the different areas around the application, each area set up to record specific data and to support specific processes. So for example, here we've got the stakeholder section with organizations and contacts. If I load up this organization here, we'll see it loads a list of the organizations in the system. So these organizations represent potential or actual donor companies. If I then click on a particular record for Pragmatiq Solutions, you'll then see it returns the information about Pragmatiq Solutions for me about this organization. We see we've got other areas in the system though as well. So if maybe we pick appeals as part of the promoting fundraising, you can see again, I've got a list of all the appeals that are shown to me. And then if I open one up in particular, you'll see it looks broadly very similar, but the data it's capturing is completely different. It's specific to this appeal that we've got there rather than being the organization. So as I mentioned, the sitemap on the side here is how we navigate between the various areas of our fundraising app. Now, earlier I mentioned it's possible to actually have multiple apps in one database, like rooms in a house. This is the case here. This sitemap contains all the information about fundraising, all the data, all the processes specific to fundraising. But if you remembered earlier, I mentioned in our fundraising overview, it also contained a mass marketing tool in there as well. And if you remember even further back, I'd mentioned there was actually an app, Dynamics 365 Customer Insights, which was a dedicated pre-built communication and marketing tool. So rather than reinvent the wheel, we've used this app out of the box alongside the accelerator to deliver those communication and emailing requirements for the accelerator. But to make a streamlined user experience, you'll see it sits in the same area as our fundraising app. So we've got our fundraising app here, and then our customer insights app here. You can ignore the other apps. That's just because I'm an admin. The users would only have two. If I open up this customer insights application, you can see, again, it looks quite similar initially, but then when you look at the sitemap, it has completely different areas that are relevant to the mass marketing activities we need to do. And there can be some overlap, but the contacts, for example, would be the same as the contacts in fundraising, but otherwise for a different experience, but still all within one place. So I'll just go back to the fundraising app. Finally then, as I said, I can move through the sitemap to find the data I am looking for. But if I know a particular record that I'm very keen to see, then I can go and search for this directly using the search bar at the top here. And this is effectively like Googling in my application. So I'm going to search Pragmatiq, and it's going to search across all the different areas of my application. So you can see it's looked for organizations, transactions, donor commitments, etc., and pull back all the ones that are relevant to Pragmatiq. I can then show more results to look further, or I can open up the record that I'm interested in particular here. So I could open up Pragmatiq. So that's an intro to Power Apps as a whole. Let's now maybe jump through some of those key things I said about what a Power App is and really bring them to life. So the first thing I said was that a Power App was a place to store your data. And the easiest type of data to store is that what we call master data, that data you store and you collect to refer to when you need it. So a good example of this is organizations. So I've gone to the organization section again here, and I've got my view of organizations. These organizations represent companies that are either donors or potential donors to our charity. This is what we call the view. It shows me all the records with some high level information about these companies. And then up the top here, I have other views that I could navigate to instead. So at the minute, this is just showing me all the active organizations. But if I wanted to see all of the organizations that have made a commitment to donate in the future to us, I could click on this view and it will show me just those relevant organizations as well. If I then load up a record, this then shows me information about that individual organization. So you can see it's got some sections which store some of the high level information, some of the contact information, etc. We've got a section here where all of the contacts working at this organization have been linked, and they each have their own dedicated record that we could move to. And we have a number of tabs here to record additional information about this organization. All of this has been built out custom based on the information we wanted to include in the Fundraising Accelerator and could be custom to your organization if you were making this Power App. The other tabs I wanted to highlight to you is the proposals and donations tab. These are a little bit different. They're not storing data about the organization, but link it to the rest of the application. So we can see the processes that it's currently involved in. So we can see here that it's currently involved in a proposal for corporate partnership. And if we go to the donations tab, we can also see the history of the donations that we've received from this organization, as well as the pledges and donor commitments for future donations as well. So if I move back to the summary tab, the last thing I wanted to highlight about this record as well is the activities side. So really key for capturing as well as the data about the organization, the interactions that we've had with the organization as well. So you can see on the right here that there's a timeline component. You might see this on other records as well. And this is where we can capture those emails, those phone calls, those notes that we've had as we've engaged with this individual, meaning that we're not losing that information in someone's phone or in someone's mailbox. It's all stored centrally to give a complete overview of Pragmatiq and our relationship to Pragmatiq. So that's the data side of things. The next key part of a Power Up is that it captures your processes. And data is a big part of those processes, you know, passing the user, capturing the data at the relevant stage, but passing them through the specific steps that they'll go through in your process. So I'll show you an example of this in the accelerator by walking through how we would go about making a proposal in the system and tracking this through all the way to a successful pledge. So let's say I'm a fundraising manager and I'm looking to raise funds for a new Milton Keynes service centre. So I've prepared a campaign for this. So I'll go to the campaigns to show you this. So I've prepared a campaign for this new Milton Keynes service centre to raise funds for that. And I've decided I'll do a number of appeals to promote this and try and raise funds, one of which is corporate partnerships. So Pragmatiq, I know Pragmatiq have engaged well in the past. We've seen they've done a number of donations. So I've decided I'd like to reach out to Pragmatiq to make an ask. So I'd navigate to the donations section and open up proposals and create a new proposal for Pragmatiq. So this is going to be a potential commercial partnership with Pragmatiq. And then I'm going to do it with Jamie Evans, who was the primary contact at Pragmatiq. I then want to link it, you know, so I can report against this. I want to link it to the campaign that it's part of and the appeal that it's part of as well. We then have a reason field, which we won't go into too much detail today, but it tracks the stage of the journey we are with this proposal, and then the likelihood that this is going to go through to a successful ask with a donation, which at the minute is quite early, so I'll put it at 10% and I'd give it a save. That's the initial data we're putting in up front, but you can see there are a number of fields on this record that we haven't filled out about the ask detail, the award details, and this is because it's data that we capture as we go through the process. So there's also a process bar here at the top that supports the various stages and steps we need to complete as we go through that process as well. So this data then supports and embeds that process that we have to manage a proposal into the system to support the users. So I'll jump a little bit ahead. So let's say I've engaged with them, I've identified, I've qualified that this is a good opportunity, and I'd like to get to the point where I'm planning to make an ask. So you can see here, we've got ask type, ask planned. These are the same fields on our record here, but in the stage, it's mandatory. I can't move to the next step until I've done this, which is enforcing me to complete this step. So I'll fill this in that I'm going to ask them to do a commercial partnership. I'm asking for £10,000 and I'm planning to ask them that on Friday. I think that's actually Saturday. And I'd give that a save. So you can see how that's, you know, these records, how we built this in is supporting that process through. If again we fast forward a little bit more throughout the process, let's say we've been successful and they have decided they will pledge that £10,000, we'd go and record this throughout the process, moving it through to close, recording the fact that they have they've awarded, they've said, yep, we'll give you that £10,000 and the date they did that on, and give that a save. But crucially, what we'd like to do, we'd like to record the fact that there is a future income coming in from a donation from Pragmatiq. And to do that, we create a donor commitment. So I'm going to create a new donor commitment here, which you can see pulls through a number of fields from my proposal to really streamline the process. And then I can fill in the rest. So Pragmatiq are making a pledge for a standard gift, and the date of the gift is going to be on Saturday, and it's going towards our Milton Keynes Service Centre. They've pledged £10,000 and they've said they'll pay that as, let's say, a standing order, and normal gift aid rules will apply. So I'll give that a save. And what this does is record that that pledge is coming in the system. Now, as it's a pledge, that pledge can be broken down into individual installments we'll receive on certain dates. And you'll see here that the system is actually even prompting me to do that as well, to really enforce that process. So not only is it saying you need to, the pledges don't add up to the total, so it's guiding me to fill in the installments, it'll also verify if I've done this wrong and made it add up not quite right. So I'm going to create 2 installments. I'm going to get the first payment on the Saturday for £5,000, give that a save. And then I'm going to get the second installment in 2 months' time, maybe in September on the 26th for the other £5,000. Now, what this lets me do is then forecast ahead to see that potential incoming donation in the future, to kind of plan that out and have visibility of that. You can see as soon as I've done that, my little warning's gone away. So really supporting the user to make sure they're filling this out right and getting good quality data for that reporting. So you can already see that this process has spanned lots of different records with steps and logic to support that process, from the campaign record, the appeal, onto the proposal with the process bar to guide them through the process, and then onto the donor commitment. And in a little Blue Peter moment, here's a proposal that I kind of made earlier that shows you a little bit more detail of what these records can end up looking like when used in earnest. So this is a successful proposal that's gone through and all the way to being paid. We've got the interactions, the emails, the notes on the timeline as we've gone through that process. We have the donor commitment here, which is for that pledge that we kind of mentioned earlier, broken down into the installments, but then on this one they've even paid those installments as well, so we even have transactions to record the actual donations that were made against this donor commitment as well. So just quickly before I finish up this demo and move on to the Q&A, the last little quick bit I wanted to show was around the automation. So the last important part of a Power App is the automation that it can bring to remove that manual workload. We've seen a bit of it so far with the donor commitment, copying information from the proposal, but the last one I want to show is a little bit more complex, a little bit more powerful, and really show what we can do with the platform, which is the example of a gift aid claim. So the gift aid claim is quite a manual, time-consuming process where you need to go through and identify all the eligible donations for gift aid, make sure that you had the required information that's valid to send to HMRC, and then process that all yourself. We've built into the system, into the Power App, a gift aid claim process that does this all for you. So all you'd need to do is tell it the date range you'd like to pull the transactions over. So maybe I want to do it over the last 2 months from the beginning of June, give that a save, and then tell it to go and look for those transactions. So click the Gather Transactions button, now go and find me all those transactions. And what that will do is it will run a process in the background to go and find them all and validate if there's any issues with them, have they declared their gift aid properly, etc. Make sure that it runs some validation criteria before returning them and telling me if it had any issues and finding those transactions. So again, I did set one up a little bit earlier that's already run, so it's gathered those transactions. If I go to the Transactions tab, I can then see it's pulled back a number of transactions that are eligible for gift aid. There's been no validation issues. They're all fine to send off to HMRC. All that's left to do is generate that export file ready to send to HMRC. So again, I have the buttons at the top here to support this process in the automation. I click generate the export file, and that's going to go away and batch up those transactions into groups of 1,000. It's a limitation from HMRC, into a file that is ready to be uploaded to HMRC. And you can see here, this is one that, again, I ran earlier that's been ready done. So it's run the export files. That's now been generated. If I load up that gift aid claim, you can see I've then got that Excel file there with all the transactions ready to upload to HMRC. So a little bit of a whistle-stop tour of Power Apps demonstrating what it can do in a fundraising scenario. So we showed the data, capturing this as records, storing that data in the system. We showed how custom processes can be embedded into the application itself to really support that proposal process. And then we showed some automation around the gift aid claim and how this can be built in to reduce manual workload. This is really the tip of the iceberg. There's plenty more that this accelerator can do. And there's plenty more that Power Apps can do as well, but hopefully it gives you a bit of a flavor of what is possible for your organization and your processes by bringing Power Apps to life a little bit.